Greetings! Welcome to the SciFi Pubcast, the podcast that tries to be a pub and perhaps someday a pub that tries to be a podcast. As always, we're looking for customers to visit our bar, our really hot and humid bar right now, but still a bar. If you're passionate about something going to be on a podcast, please let us know because this bar is all about community. Yes, community. We still have that even in this day and age and with everything that's going on. So, we're not doing this for money because, we would like money, but we're just not doing this for money. We don't have Patreon, and we don't sell advertising. So if you want to help us out, please consider leaving a 5-star review wherever you find the show, joining our Discord server, and subscribing to our YouTube channel. Yes, we got this out at the very front of the show, so we will never talk about this stuff again until perhaps the very end of the show. My name is Joel. I'm the owner of the SciFi Pubcast, so to speak. And today, I'm looking around, and I have two of my dedicated staff members. We have Carrie Simpson and Derek Beebe joining us today. Carrie, how you doing?
Hi, I'm hiding from the heat in my apartment. I apologize for how dark it is. I'm trying to keep as many lights off as possible to, not have too much heat in the apartment.
That's fair.
I apologize to anyone who thinks they can hear my air conditioner because I'm not dying for you guys. It's supposed to be 97 today.
What's an air conditioner? What's this device you speak of? Go.
It keeps me from dying of heat stroke in my apartment.
Right. So you're in the Los Angeles area, right? And it's
Yes.
97 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yes.
I'm in Ottawa. For this entire past week and a half, it's been between like 85 and like 93 Fahrenheit. I'm just trying to do the math in my head, and it's humid because it's Ontario. So yes.
Fortunately, that's not something I have to deal with right now.
Yeah, you can see the sweat perhaps on YouTube if through my laptop camera if you want to see it.
Sure.
Right. Derek, how you doing, man? What's up?
I'm not bad because when I get hot, since we don't have air conditioning in the pub, what I do is that big beer barrel in the back, I screw the top off of it and just dunk my head inside it for a while. That cools you right down.
Oh, God, no. Please, yeah.
But I thought, but Derek, you don't drink.
I know, I just use it to cool off,
Okay, so you don't drink, but you will dunk your head in alcohol. Why not just go into the walk-in?
And don't worry, I use vanilla scented shampoo to give the beer that kind of, vanilla-y taste when you serve it.
Joel, I thought we talked about keeping him away from the alcohol.
I know. We can't.
Do I need to put a couple more Ewoks on the booze?
Yeah. It's just that we're kind of running a bit short because the whole economic depression that's happening right now, and leave it with me. I may have to outsource it to someone, or bring in some alien workers or something. I don't know. So yes, aliens. They probably know a bit about cooking better than Derek. Speaking of which, Derek, how's our kitchen doing?
It's getting by. I have a special theme to Independence Day. Mm-hmm. I call it Frying Saucers. What I did was, since we're kind of low on supplies right now, I got that, you buy it in the store, it's like pancake batter, it's like a dry tub of it, and you just pour it out. So I got that, so I'm frying those to make 2 pancake things, and then I stick a bunch of green gummy bears in the middle to be little green men, and it's a flying saucer.
Okay, is this popular, like, off-planet?
I have no idea. Oh, by the way, Joel, I hate to drop this on you now, but so I had the opportunity to hang out with the Patreon supporters of the Michelin podcast.
Okay.
I may have dropped our podcast in the live stream a couple of times, so we may have some more listeners.
Excellent.
So if y'all are joining us, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Did you say Michelin?
Mission Log.
Okay.
Star Trek podcast.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's Star Trek. It's not high-end restaurants. Okay, Michelin stars. Okay.
Michelin will not come near us.
No.
Not after what, especially after what Derek just said.
We're not going to make the guidebook, guys. Okay.
On the subject of Star Trek, I just started watching the animated series for the first time in my life.
Oh, the trailer for the new one, the new animated series just dropped.
Yeah, that looks really funny. I can't wait to watch that. But I'm watching the original 70s cartoon. The animation is horrible, of course, but it's interesting to watch. It's really cool that they got all the voice actors back.
Everyone but Walter Koenig.
Yeah.
But he wrote the episode with the giant Spock, so.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Just let know the crack I made about aliens earlier. I'm talking about like outer space aliens. So yeah, because we're talking about
we know what you mean.
We're talking about Independence Day and Independence Day resurgence.
Aren't we a week late?
Yes, maybe a week or 2 weeks. Well, by the time this podcast comes out, maybe it's next year. Who knows? But before we get to the topic at hand, we have to do a beer recommendation because, yes, we're a pub. And, yes, if you haven't gathered by now, we are a very quirky podcast. Unfortunately, I picked a beer that's actually from Randall's town, Randall Graham's London, Ontario. This is where he's living right now. So the beer recommendation I have is by Fork River Brewing Company, and I recommend the Capital Blonde Ale. It's 4.7% alcohol by volume with a 28 out of 100 IBU. It's a nice, Capital Blonde Ale. It was delicious. I had one several weeks ago before this heat starts. It's a blue can with like a hipster guy with a big giant beard, and I thought to myself, yeah, I can see Randall liking that. Yeah, but unfortunately, Randall couldn't be on today. He's busy doing, living his life, which is great to see. But
he's not finishing up Afterlife, right? Not working on some Afterlife promos or anything?
I think he's spending time with loved ones and watching Hamilton, but you didn't get that from me, okay? Okay. Fair enough. Independence Day. Yes, this is all Derek's idea. We're talking about the 1996 movie Independence Day and its 2016 sequel, Independence Day Resurgence. It's going to be a disaster of a show. Yes.
Oh.
Yes, I watched the sequel to celebrate July 4th.
Right.
I just watched the sequel a couple of days ago. Again, I've seen it a couple of times, but I forgot how just fun it was.
I actually quite enjoyed the first one. The second one, which I've rewatched and I'm watching again out of the corner of my eye, and I had to rent it just when I would know. I actually paid money again to see it a second and third times. Well, at least a second time. Yeah, it's pretty horrible. Okay, in my opinion.
Okay. Well, so I've been thinking of Independence Day is kind of in the context of the spin-off of a different Roland Emmerich film, Stargate.
Right.
Where the aliens are just arrogant enough to not realize that we might be smart enough to take them out, and then Resurgence is kind of like, oh, how dare you destroy us, we're going to come and smite you.
Yeah. I know what he was trying to do because there's a lot of aspects from the first one from 1996 that work so well, and it was the highest grossing film of 1996. It's the second highest in that period of years, I believe, if you can rely on Wikipedia, which we do because it's an easy way to get information of unknown reliability. But saying that, I remember seeing it in 1996, and again, I was just, I was in my undergraduate years, right? So my 22-ish, 23-ish, and I grew up on the border, right, on the Canadian side, the U.S. side, and watching it, I thought, oh my God, this is so stupid, and it's so American-centric. The Americans are going to save the world once again.
Of course.
But once you get past that, and I actually own it on Blu-ray, it was about a couple of years ago, and that there's such great aspects to this film. It's cheesy in a good way. It's meant to be taken not very seriously. I actually really like Will Smith in the first one. I think he did an outstanding job. And Bill Pullman, of course, I'm just wondering myself, how did Lone Star get into this movie and as president of the United States of America? But I digress. Lone Star. There's a lot of comic acting, and I think a lot of it, I think worked well in the first film, is the comedic timing of the lines, whereas I don't think the same chemistry was present in the second one. Not as much, and I think it makes. That's my take.
Not as much, but I mean, all you really need to watch the second one for is Brett Spiner and Jeff Goldblum. I mean, come on.
Yeah, and it's like Brett Spiner. So he finally finished Next Generation, and so he had to come up with a new character to catch on pop culture, and he became this guy, right? The head director of Area 51. What's his name?
Brackish Oaken.
Yes, Dr. Brackish Oaken. Yes, we like academic titles on the show. So
Yes, we do.
it was just, it's a fun movie. Okay. Guys, I know I've said this before on this podcast, but in December of 2015, I took a week trip to Vegas, and one of the days I took the Area 51 tour. So I went to
you mentioned that.
Rachel, Nevada, Little Italy. This is not from this movie, that's from Paul, but still it's right by the road you take to get to the gates of Area 51. Yes, it's a very scary place, actually, and they take things very seriously there. But I just remember this movie and think to myself, Area 51, that's cool. That's part of UFO mythology, the mythos of it. I like that. Speaking of which, it was only until you think Area 51. Let me rephrase it this way. Yeah, people knew about in the 60s and 70s, lots of talk about how they test experimental planes like the U-2 and the Blackbird. Do you realize the United States government did not acknowledge the existence of Area 51 until 2013? Officially?
I'm shocked.
Imagine that. Officially, the U.S. government has recognized that Area 51 is indeed a U.S. installation of some type.
Yeah, but okay, getting back to the movie, I just want to acknowledge the real crime in that movie is the super, super obvious matte painting. Okay, so you have the hangar doors open, and it is very obvious that that's a matte painting of Air Force One behind it. Like my dad points it out every time. It's like, what the fuck is this? Like, seriously.
Budgets. Movies have budgets, right? Production budgets.
I understand that, but I mean, they spent so much. Put so much time and effort on making everything look amazing, and then they have that. And and once you see it, you can't not see it anymore.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's good.
Sorry.
No.
Sorry.
No,
I have the same thing with the opening of The Matrix, the rooftop chase with Trinity. It's very obviously a photo backdrop of a city on a set, and once you see it, you can never unsee it, and it looks so cheap and fake afterwards.
Yeah. It's not like when they use CGI to blow things up.
No.
That was good. They got the White House as well as the Capitol building, as well as the Empire State's building, I believe. And
like to get the monuments.
The Capitol Records,
Records,
not the Capitol Records building.
Yeah.
It is near City Hall, though. It's one of the taller buildings in LA. I actually kind of, sort of, not really. I didn't really do the math, but I'm like looking at the blast radius of that, and every time I watch the movie, like, it won't reach the valley. it won't reach me at all. I'll be fine.
That's awesome.
Although Jasmine has a really, really weird sense of what a 4-pointer is, because that was not a 4-point. That was not a 4-pointer. That's maybe a 5-pointer.
Yeah. The earth moved, and the ground shook. Yeah. Ah, God, I don't know. Sure, I'm not sure what it means.
And it went on long enough that I would be like, okay, I should probably get out of bed for this now.
Yeah, I think what the first movie did especially well, and the second movie did somewhat well, is this dread of some bad thing is going to show up, and bad things are happening, right? And then that's the first third of the movie. The second third of the movie is when we start to fight back as a species, including non-Americans. And then the last part, the closing act, is when we actually win, because who doesn't like winning and surviving? Yeah. But the dread. I really like the opening scene of Independence Day when you have this large mothership, basically, that goes past the moon. And you see the vibration that rubs away, the Apollo 13 footprints there, right? Okay, and
Apollo 11.
Oh, thank you. Sorry, Apollo
13 never actually never actually landed.
Yeah, so I was thinking Apollo program, and I said 13. Yeah, I've been looking at T-shirts. Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. I love this stuff. You know that. Okay. Okay. And actually, I'm not sure if that's will be like Armstrong's footprints or Buzz Aldrin, or was it later Apollo mission? So that's how my brain works. It's just not working.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
That's okay.
But if you listen to the director's commentary on the Blu-ray, which I did for the first bit. So that was a homage to Star Wars, New Hope with the Star Destroyer.
Oh,
right.
Neat.
And of course, the inside joke is that they use the same gag in Spaceballs. So,
although Spaceball 1 was way bigger.
Oh yeah. So I think just scale.
Actually,
yeah.
Although maybe not, Spaceball 1 probably not as big as the mothership from the second ID4.
No. The whole thing that it takes over the entire size of the Atlantic Ocean. Yeah, is that just the North Atlantic or the South Atlantic? Or both? Brutal.
Yes.
I think it was mostly just north.
Yeah.
I think it was mostly Europe and the Atlantic, and it kind of got to the East Coast, maybe.
Well, now there's a land bridge connecting North America to Europe, so think of the money we can save. Yeah.
No kidding. We should get on some high-speed rail before the ocean fills in again.
Yeah, true. Derek?
Spoiler alert: the ship took off and left at the end.
Oh, okay.
That is the one thing I was trying to figure out. It's like, because we know from the first movie that once the mothership is destroyed, everything else crashes and dies. So once the Queen is gone, everything else dropped. Who's flying the ship?
It was on autopilot, being recalled to the Avis facility.
Yeah. Drones.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Or maybe my other thought was maybe it was that other advanced species that tried to communicate with us that we shot down because stupid humans.
Well, that's the thing. I think the writers the children folk guy person's name. What's his name?
Evelyn and Emmerich and Devlin.
Yeah. So what I think they get right is how there's going to be some people who are going to act so stupid. Mm-hmm. You have the politicians in the second one going, "Oh my God, it's alien! Let's blow it up without any communications," because they're governing by fear and they want to take a very fierce stand. And then we have the first one where we have people dancing on the top of the tower in L.A. Celebrating the arrival of the aliens, right? The one.
Because of course that would happen in L.A.
Of course. Because people are people, right? People is going to take the opposite position despite the common sense. Yeah. So who's stupid? We are. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to draw from a much cheesier movie, and it's a line from the Space Invaders. It's like, what is that? What is that? Who cares? Just shoot it.
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't seen that movie in so long. I want to see that again.
Yeah.
It's still as cheesy as ever. It's not great, but it's fun.
Hey,
I
love that movie as a kid, and I haven't seen it since then.
At the very beginning of Independence Day, the first one, I forgot what scene. It was the first 10 minutes. It's, I think, someone's bedroom, and the TV's on. You know what movie was playing on the TV?
Day the Earth Stood Still.
That's right.
Right.
Remember we did an episode on this like last year? That's classic.
Yeah, something like that. Or last year, 2 years ago, who knows?
That's another homage. Even like the fight scenes, especially the second one, I see a lot of Starship Trooper action going on there, especially when they have a ring of infantry around Area 51. And yeah, and spoiler alert, what's this, the Queen at the end of the second one becoming Godzilla? And then you have this whole yellow school bus thing, right? Which I just thought this is past the point of absurdity. We have a school bus full of kids. You have, the guy's dead.
Come on. You gotta love that he lived through the entire thing.
Yeah,
come on.
Yeah.
I mean, the former Secretary of Defense, ended up in the nursing home that he was visiting, and he probably didn't live. He probably didn't survive the movie.
No,
but that was just karmic gold right there.
Yeah, played by is it Jude Hirsch? Am I saying his first name right?
Judd Hirsch.
Judd Hirsch. I'm terrible with names. Yeah, just shut off this podcast now. No, really. But it's I think especially the first one, first movie had such great comedic gold to it. The second one a bit more absurd, but that's the thing. With these movies, you have to get more absurd and bigger spacecraft and better aliens.
Although this last time I watched the Resurgence, I actually got rather depressed. The whole point of Independence Day Resurgence is that after the first attack, the entire world came together. We put aside our differences. We built all this advanced shit. We got a base on the moon. And yeah, it's still very US centric, but there was actual cooperation all over the world. And look at where we are in reality. Fuck.
Absolutely.
Why? This is why we can't have nice things.
That was particularly my favorite thing about the sequel. Now, obviously, it's dopey. The first one is dopey. I think they're equally dumb, so I think the sequel gets unfairly maligned for being stupid because the first one was just as bad. People just, look back on it fondly. I know I do. But I love that in the sequel, we're seeing a future where because of this horrific attack, the world actually did come together and they were cooperating and they advanced with all this alien technology. And most importantly of all, the movie didn't start with everybody saying, oh, the aliens are never coming back. We don't need to worry about defending ourselves. They were ready for it. They were waiting for it. That's what I love about the sequel. They knew they were coming back and they never lost sight of that fact. They were building bases and defenses, everything. And when some weird alien ball showed up on the moon, they shot it right the fuck down. Now, obviously, that turned out to be a bad idea.
It turned out to be a bad idea.
But how are they supposed to know there's a second peaceful alien race? They would have no way of knowing that.
What are
they
the
only
odds?
know of the one alien race that came to kill them.
Well, but I mean, that's still a bit of the arrogance of the human race that Okay, so we find out there's one other alien species in the universe in the first movie, and then we're still arrogant enough to think that that's the only other alien species in the universe by the time the second one comes around. Come on, guys.
Yeah, but they had no prior contact from any other race, and this happened just as they knew the aliens were about to invade, because the prisoners of war had woken up and were going crazy because they knew the mother was returning.
The aliens started waking up, and maybe it was just a coincidence that the other aliens showed up just as they were waking up. Maybe those other aliens were reacting to their mortal enemies showing up. Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe they weren't reacting to the Queen originally.
Yeah, I mean, I don't fault them for shooting because they would have no context to know that it wasn't a threat.
Okay, Derek, you've turned your camera off. Is that on purpose, or is it the aliens bothering us?
Are you joking? I can see my camera.
Okay, on my screen it's showing that your icon's up and not your video, so strange.
I can see my image.
I can see Derek just fine.
Okay, it is the aliens.
sorry.
Yeah. But is it the good aliens or bad aliens?
If you're just seeing the icon, Joel, maybe that's a good thing.
Okay, fair enough.
I mean,
yeah, it is what it is. Yeah, totally.
And the other thing that fascinated me about the sequel was that we really got to see what society was like transformed by the alien technology. Because the first one, just took place in the real world and they didn't have anything. Whereas this one was just, full on sci-fi. It was in our modern day, but they have technology like 50, 100 years advanced beyond our own. So I thought it was really fascinating to get to see how society was transformed by that. And I thought it was inspiring to see that people came together. We didn't have wars anymore. Everybody was united by this common threat, just like in Watchmen.
Yeah, we're actually talking about that tonight on Cape Chronicles, which is gonna be fun.
I still have to watch the Watchmen series. Yeah.
Oh, you do.
It's on HBO,
it's
and I have to.
amazing.
Yeah, I know. Someday. I like what Derek is saying. And I think it worked very well. But even in the first movie, Independence Day, when humans started to fight back, and you see different air forces launching counterattacks, right? You have the Brits talking to, like in Iraq, with I think the Egyptians and the Israelis and other people from there. Which traditionally these folks they don't play well together. So that was great to see. It's just this idea that we are humans first. I'm a sucker for concepts like that. I want everyone to get along. I know it's an alien concept.
If I can talk about when the first one came out, I was 15 years old when that came out, which was the perfect age to love this movie. It was such a huge phenomenon that summer. I remember seeing the very first teaser trailer. They didn't show any aliens. All they showed was the firewall coming down the city. And that was the coolest mystery, is like, what's causing that wall of fire? What is this? What's happening?
Well, that was the thing. Like they released the toys too early. And that gave away what the aliens were supposed to look like. And the studio was pissed.
Fortunately, I did not see the toys.
I managed to not see the toys either because I live under a rock most of the time. But yeah, the toys got released like a couple of days before the movie opened, and they released the action figures of the aliens, and that was like a big shit show because suddenly everyone knew what the aliens were supposed to look like.
Yeah, go ahead, Derek.
Go ahead, Joel.
Yeah, they didn't get the memo on that one. Oh, well.
Yeah.
And when I was a kid at that age, I wasn't really allowed to go to the movie theater because it was too expensive. My dad didn't like movie theaters. And I actually saw this movie 3 times in the theater, which is unheard of for me at that time. And we even dragged my dad to take it, and he hated going to the movie theater. That's how big a deal it was. And for my little 15-year-old mind, this was like the greatest movie ever made. Obviously, I was a huge Star Wars fan, but this was certainly the biggest movie that I ever saw in theater myself, because it was so huge and epic, and these incredibly huge spaceships hovering overhead, and everything looks so incredibly realistic. And I also love the fact that the story kind of built from the mystery of what's happening to the attack, to the counterattack, to them going up in a stolen ship to fly into the alien mothership. The story kept building and going to new places, and it was very exciting for me. Oh, and I also remember they did a TV special on like Fox the week before it aired or something, and it was like a 30-minute special that just kind of like built up the mystique of it without actually giving anything away. And I was engrossed watching that, being so excited for the movie.
I don't remember that. I remember them talking a lot about doing a lot of clip specials on the all the model building they did for the effect shots, which is just like, okay, sure, yeah, you want to make LA look like this big? Sure, okay, I'm fine with it.
I actually quite enjoy. Well, there's lots of things about this movie I quite enjoyed. The second one, I thought it was really cool. They brought in an African warlord as a character, and he's probably one of my favorite characters of the second one. And you think I'm bad at pronouncing English names? So the character name is Dikabi Umbutu, and he's played by an actor by the name of Diabia Aparia. And again, I've just butchered this name. I apologize, but I'm trying to give credit where credit is due. I love that. That was a good little twist. So, and so that's the love interest in the second one. So this is really odd for me to say this, but Jeff Goldblum plays a character by the name of David Livingston, right?
Livingston, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So the other expert he ran into, the character's name's Catherine Marceau, played by Charlotte Gainsbourg. Right? Following me so far? Right, okay.
Yeah.
I think the timing was incredible because if you're into any art house films, which I was, there was a 2-part movie called Nymphomaniac from 2013, which he plays the starring lead role. Right, okay. So when they make the crack, you guys must have bumped together at these conventions, right, or on the circuit. That was an inside joke, and that's great. Okay, just fabulous.
And I love her in the movie, but my issue with that was what happened to his wife from the first movie, or his ex-wife from the first movie. They never actually. They never.
It's 20 years later. They
there's
grew
so
apart.
so many loose ends.
Maybe
So many loose ends. Yeah.
What happened there?
I know. It's like people die.
I think it's good they brought back as many of the actors as they did. Obviously, it's a shame that Will Smith declined to participate, but I thought it was great seeing Goldblum back and Bill Pullman back. And I like that they had like the children of the characters as well. I always enjoy that kind of like a sequel where it equally stars the originals and the children like they do with Tron Legacy. Mm-hmm. It's always nice to have like the two generations joining together against the new threat.
Yeah, it's a business necessity. If you want sequels.
My biggest question is what happened to Russell Case's kids.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, like Russell Case, plowed his jet into the one ship to bring it down. What happened? Where are his kids in the second movie?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing. There's a lot of loose threads to the sequel, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that it took them, 20
years.
Yeah. I like the fact they really incorporates Bill Pullman's speech from the first one in the second one because I think the speech made the first movie. Yeah.
Well, I like that speech somehow managed to transmit itself all the way back across the galaxy to the Queen. Yeah. And the Queen's like, oh, you're gonna mess with us? We're gonna, Yeah.
And I think the speech it's a riff off of Dylan Thomas' poem, right? We do not go gently into that good night. So it's it's a play off of that. So anyone who knows poetry kind of sees it and says, "Hey, wait a second, they're ripping off Dylan Thomas."
I never put that one together.
Yeah.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah. Any time you hear "Do not go gently into that good night," yeah, it's Dylan Thomas. Okay, which is a Welsh poem.
I mean, I know the poem. Thank you. Back to school. But I never put the speech and the poem together until you just mentioned it. So thank you.
Oh, there you go. My job is done today. I'm going
Your
to go
job
to the
is done.
patio. Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Everyone.
I also
everyone go have
believe
a beer.
"Welcome to Earth" was from Shakespeare's Henry VIII. Is that right?
I don't know. Maybe.
That was a joke.
No. Welcome to Earth. You did the F. Strange, man. Strange. CGI. Do we like it or not?
Yeah.
I like it. Yeah.
Yeah, the first one was one of the very first ones to use it. I believe they only used it for the alien ships. Everything else was models, if I recall correctly.
Right.
I think only like the big dog fights between the fighter ships was CGI and the rest was models. But it looked very good at the time. It was definitely groundbreaking for 96, and to my 15-year-old eyes, everything looked 100% realistic. Nothing looked like a model to me back then.
Yeah.
Of course it does now, but...
Listen, what's more sexy than flying planes as a fighter pilot, right, when you're a teenager? Right? You know, the fact of the matter is that you look at the Will Smith character, kicking ass and flying his probably F-16 and whatever the make was and the model was of the fighter jet in the first one. And they incorporate that. This is what I like about this movie. It's this whole U.S. military aspect of flying jet fighters, because that's cool. And so that's also a homage to Star Wars, right? With all the dogfighting scenes. Mm-hmm. Right. Love that. Yeah. I should have become a fighter jockey, but yeah, probably a good thing I didn't, because I don't really like heights. Yeah, the whole speed stuff. I don't even like roller coasters. Yeah. Oh well. Yeah.
Okay.
What else? Any favorite scenes?
Too many to name.
All of it.
I love it.
All of it.
I mean, the first one, I mean, it's very dopey. You really can't take it seriously. Everybody is so, comic and lowest common denominator with their reactions and their characterizations. But I mean, especially for me being that age, it was just, absolute heaven, and like every moment was pure golden classicness.
Well, what got me on the Stargate tangent when I was watching the movies this time around was and I know Devlin and Rick didn't really have much to do with the SG-1 series, but the aliens kind of look like the heads at least kind of looked like a variation on the Goa'uld, not the Goa'uld, the Asgard. Okay, yeah. From Stargate SG-1, and that's what got me thinking of because in Stargate the Asgard come to the Earthlings for help because they need someone less smart than they are. It's like we would never think to shoot at something. We would, and so of course these advanced aliens would never think that a computer virus created by a human would ever bring down their ships. No.
No.
This is obvious trivia, but I'm sure you guys know that they came up with the idea for this movie while doing the press junket for Stargate. And at one point, they kind of wondered aloud what would happen if the Goa'uld came back to Earth for revenge, and that's where the seeds of this movie came from. I don't know if it was ever literally supposed to be the Goa'uld in the movie, but that's where they first got the idea for it.
Well, that totally explains why there are 3 Stargate series now.
Yeah, that's cool. So Independence Day 3. I know it's written, but it looks like it's not happening anytime soon.
The second one didn't do good enough.
No, the second one made its money back, but it basically was considered a box office bomb because, well, have you seen that movie? Okay.
I like it.
Hey, yeah, I like it too. And
the thing that's so frustrating about that is that at the end of the second one, I was so excited for a sequel because they're actually going to go out to outer space and they were going to meet these friendly aliens and help them fight the bad aliens. And I was like, oh my God, I want to see that so much. And now we never will.
Yeah, it may happen in another 20 years, but I would love to see it. I know it's going to be another cheesy movie, but sure, why not? But
yeah, sure.
If they
See,
can
that's why I think the sequel is so good, because it expands the world in a substantial way. Because in the first movie, it's like, us and them. And then in the sequel, it introduces a whole third party to the system. So, it made the world that much bigger and more textured.
Well, that's kind of what they did. That's kind of what they did with Falling Skies. After season 1, they introduced the Vohm, that were basically another alien race that came to help us out because we were actually fighting back rather than just rolling over and dying. But yeah. I think I remember, like, even back in the 90s, I'm talking about a proposed sequel was us taking the fight back to the aliens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sign me up. If they can make more Transformer movies, they can make Independence Day 3. Let's make it a thing.
Sure.
I think the reason they never got a sequel was because of 9/11. That they were getting towards it around that time, but then of course nobody wants to see buildings blowing up, right after 9/11, so they kind of put it on the shit can for a while.
Yeah, there's also so many disaster movies in the late 90s, which Independence Day actually kicked off. Like in 98, you got Impact, and you have all these disaster movies.
Deep Impact, Armageddon, Volcano, Dante's Peak.
Yeah, makes you want to go hide in your apartment. Yeah, surrounded by like a tiki bar. But yeah, there you go. Yeah. Any last thoughts?
Go. Well, and I think, and also it was kind of a play on, I believe it's the Mars Attacks cards, where like the second half of the card, because Mars Attacks, the movie, was based on the card set, and the card set kind of tells a story, and the last like half or a third of the card deck is the humans taking the fight back to Mars.
Yeah, I like that. I think it's been used before in other movies or books. This is a great line, or is a great sentiment.
Yeah, Martian City in Ruins too.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it here.
Because it's always good to be on the offensive. And you see that too, because it's kind of like, to use a real life event, Pearl Harbor, right? And it's the Doolittle raid shortly after. So it's like trying to be on the offensive when you've been really hurt badly. Yeah, I think it's an emotional, psychological reaction that's hardwired in our very existence. How's that?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Now, as much as I love these two movies, I will point out things that are incredibly stupid about them. First of all, they're very childishly written. Like all like I said before, all the characters have these, it's dumb, cartoony dialogue to appeal to the lowest common denominator. Everybody's giving these like, comic overreactions to things. Not to mention Harvey Fierstein in the first one. Who was absolutely hilarious in it. But in terms of plot holes, the first one. So first of all, these advanced aliens who have interstellar travel in these vast starships, they have to use our satellite system to coordinate their attack. They don't have their own satellites or anything like that. I mean, because if that didn't happen, we would have had no warning, and Jeff Goldblum's character wouldn't have had anything to do in the first hour of the movie.
Hey.
And then, of course, the obvious thing, how the hell did they use a 90s Macintosh to introduce a computer virus into the aliens' computers? I can't even play a computer game that's 10 years old on my computer anymore because the systems aren't compatible.
Well, that's what I was saying. That's what I was saying about the aliens being so advanced that they would not have thought that a primitive computer would be able to upload a virus into their systems.
Yeah, I don't see how it could.
Okay,
it's arrogance.
We have all these major plot holes, but the small things bug me. The first one, played by a classic character who's no longer with us, Robert, again, butchering his last name, Loggia, right?
Robert Loggia?
Yeah, so he plays General Willem Gray. He's in charge of the Space Forces, right? He's also a Marine Corps general. Why is a Marine Corps guy in charge of the U.S. Space Forces? Can someone answer that for me, please?
He had a midlife crisis.
Okay.
And he changed his life around.
It's just small things like that.
Joint Chiefs? I don't know.
Okay. So,
and then in the sequel, well, first of all, they have this huge Atlantic Ocean-sized spaceship that creates its own gravity, landing on the Earth. Now, I can only assume that within the reality of the movie that it somehow is canceling out its own gravity or inertia, because just doing that would be enough to destroy the planet, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it like rip the Earth apart or like send the oceans out into space or something just by sheer gravitational disturbance?
I think Neil deGrasse Tyson may have said something about that on an episode of Star Trek. I'm not entirely sure, but that sounds reasonable.
I'm of the school of thought that we should not try it. So
yes, very much so.
Let's not try, experiment with that type of stuff. Yeah.
And then the other thing that drove me crazy about the very ending of the sequel, so it's shooting its laser drill down to get into the molten core of the Earth, right? Yeah. And it's like 5 seconds away from hitting the sweet spot when they kill the queen. And the moment it does that, everything just shuts off and it flies away. Like, it doesn't have some kind of automated program to be like, well, we're 5 seconds away, we might as well finish. Yeah. And then the next queen can come along and pick up the resources.
Wait a second. And the thing is, okay, breaching the core, right? So what? Right? We have volcanoes with active lava. That's a breach of the core. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, wasn't it? I'm already forgetting, even though I just watched it. Wasn't it gonna like basically like suck everything out?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
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 But still, yeah. I mean, like I love both movies, but they are so silly. You just have to roll with it and not.
I mean, you basically have to kind of take your brain off the hook for a lot of this, and just enjoy the fun of it.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely not intellectual movies. They're just kind of like 4-quadrant movies made for anybody to enjoy. Yeah, but no, I love them.
Yeah, no, if I want an intellectual movie, I'll watch Watchmen again.
All right. This has been awesome, guys. But yes, I need to go take a cold shower and then crawl into bed and cry. So yes, okay.
Sorry.
No, not kidding.
Just dunk your head in the beer like I do.
All right.
No,
well, actually, it won't do as much for you because you don't have hair. Because the thing is, like, it clings into your hair, and that's what cools you down. It'll just slough right off you.
All right. Yeah. Maybe. I might go to the patio. I'm not gonna lie. But then I have to edit this show. So we still
have to keep Derek away from the alcohol.
Yes.
But for different reasons than drinking it.
Yes.
All right. Any last thoughts before we close the doors, guys? Folks. See, I'm trying to be more neutral in my language. Folks.
Hey, you know what? Dude is a non-gendered term.
Yeah. I always try to be non-gendered nowadays. So yeah. Because I care. There you go. All right, let's close this show down. It's released as a podcast and on YouTube. Please subscribe today and check out our Discord. It's a great source of news and discussion. You can find our Discord server invites on our social media. Speaking of which, we're on 3 different channels for social media. We're on Twitter and Instagram, which I do. And we also have a Facebook page, which is managed by Derek. Derek, you're doing a great job with the Facebook page.
Thank you.
There you go. If you want to send us an email, our email address is at management@scifipubcast.space. management@scifipubcast.space. Carrie, what's your Twitter address?
My Twitter handle is Carrie Blackfire42. That's KERI Blackfire42.
And what other podcasts can people listen to you on?
I am on DC Talk, which is a DC Comics news and discussion show. And I'm also on Cape Chronicles, which is we're basically going chronologically through all superhero movies. We started with Superman 79. Is it 79? I have no fucking clue anymore. I don't even know what day it is, except that we're recording, so it must be Sunday. And we're recording our episode on The Watchmen from 2009 tonight. So that's going to be fun.
Cool. And what network is that on, these shows?
That's on the Random Chatter Network.
Perfect. Derek, what's your Twitter address?
I'm at Derek J. BB.
And I'm at Joel_Welch. It's closing time. Take care And please make it home
So
safe.
did we give out Randall's Twitter handle?
Oh, people can find him, Randall, but yes, Randall _ Graham. Yeah, like he
is
might be listening.
He is our writer in residence. I mean,
We should. Author Before Life, and soon the sequel, Afterlife Crisis. He might actually be listening to the very end of the show, as not just skipping forward or hitting the pause button. So,
which is why I said we should make sure people know where to find him.
We love you, Randall. We really do. Okay. Right. We'll see you next time, guys. Folks. It's folks. See you next time, folks. Bye now.
Music provided courtesy of Logan Rathbone. Podcast logo by Jea Rhea. Copyrighted Joe Welch. Listen responsibly. And we can't wait for your next visit to our fine establishment. Cheers.